morning. It's Sunday morning, y'all. I hope that you are on your way to church or going to be headed there soon. There's nothing like being in the presence of God with God's people. As Scripture says, and I've probably shared this here before, where two or more are gathered, God is in the midst. And what an awesome promise that is. So we are reading out of Job chapters 13 and 14 this morning, and I know Sunday mornings with Job is what it's been lately, but it's gonna get good, and I think it's good anyway, just to learn how to handle suffering in our lives, because we will encounter it. And Job's continuing his answer to Zophar and his pals, and we see right here in Job 13 verse 1, "Look, my eyes have seen all this, my ears have heard and understood it. Everything you know, I also know. I'm not inferior to you. Yet I prefer to speak to the Almighty and argue my case before God." Can you just hear that attitude in Job? Basically, he's saying, hey, nothing you guys are talking about, like, I don't know. I get it. You guys think I'm an idiot or something, you know? You kind of feel that sense of anger in him. Have you ever had someone listen to you while you're pouring out your heart to them? And basically they have a lot of advice for you. They want to tell you why you're going through what you're going through. That's really what we have happening here. And there's a frustration because sometimes we want to be heard. Not just someone really hearing us physically, but really listening and praying for you and having compassion. Not just listening and basically saying, well, this is your problem, and you don't realize how good God is, and you just da-da-da-da-da. But Job knows who to talk to. He says he wants to talk to God. Now, there's a little bit of a sense in how he says it. He's angry with God too. But as he shares in Job 13:15, which is the scripture of the day, "Though he slay me, yet will I hope in him. I will surely defend my ways to his face." Now, at first blush, this can seem a little disrespectful. I wasn't there, you weren't there, we don't know how he said it. But I believe Job is saying, I can go directly to God. I can talk to him. I have a relationship with him. And I know he will hear me. Because he's a just God. He's a good God. Unlike his human compadres, he knew God would really hear him, and he knew God would be fair. I can understand Job's confusion because sometimes at the hardest places that maybe we didn't do anything that we know of that brought that into our life, and we just don't understand why we have to be going through it. And I get it. It's hard. And he continues in verse 16 saying, "Yes, this will result in my deliverance, for no godless person can appear before him." So he has confidence that this is going to be his deliverance. He knows that God is going to hear him. He knows God is good. But he also knows who he is, you know? He knows that he can approach God. We see in Scripture that we're to boldly come before the throne of God, even though we don't deserve it. God invites us to come. And Job knows that he can go before God. In his appeal to God that follows, he asks for mercy from his suffering. That's okay, right? Then he asks what iniquities he's committed. He says, "Reveal to me my transgression and sin." That's a beautiful prayer. Really, we should pray it every day. We should say, "God, I don't understand myself. I don't see my sin. Will you please help me to see it so I can confess it, renounce it, and be right with you?" Because sin is sneaky. Sin deceives us. And we're going to find out in the end maybe what some of Job's plank in his own eye was, because we all sin and fall short. His tone in this passage is anger, confusion, and anger that his friends are misjudging him, anger that God is allowing the suffering. He doesn't feel he deserves it. Again, the theme that we're seeing is life is hard, suffering is hard, and this pours from Job's lips. In Job 14 verse 1, it says, "Anyone born of woman is short of days and full of trouble." He blossoms like a flower, then withers. He flees like a shadow and does not last. Do you really take notice of one like this? Will you bring me into judgment against you? So how do you process the fact that God allows suffering in? What questions does that bring up in your mind? Do you blame him like Job did at times? We see that a lot in our culture. Or do you go to God about it, like Job eventually did? God does not mind honest questions. We can come and we can say, God, I don't understand. It's okay. I think about Mary, who, when the news was shared with her with Gabriel, her response was so beautiful. How can that be? May it be done to me as the Lord has determined. There is this submission and surrender. And I think it's okay to ask questions, but it's our heart and how we ask it. Do we trust him? So when we come to a place of trusting him, even when things don't make sense, that is such a sweet place of surrender. Sorry, I'm still dealing with asthma from the flu thing, and I'm fighting to not cough here. I don't know what you're going through today, but God does. You're not forgotten. Go to him. Cry out and ask him to help you. I promise you, he hears you. I pray right now for any of you who are suffering that you will know God is with you. He is for you. Trust him. Be bold and dare to trust him, and watch and see what he does. Take care, you guys. Have a great Sabbath, and we will, Lord willing, catch you tomorrow. Bye-bye.